here now. This is a new show, rebranding, a little bit of rebranding. I'm Mr. Three Keys, and we're sitting here with a dear friend of mine. It's like my second or third or eighth time interviewing her, and it's been so many times because she's always doing some amazing dope shit, right? So she's a mother, she's a grandmother, she's a sister, she's a extreme professional, she's a businesswoman, entrepreneur, she's a producer, she's a women's advocate, she's a youth advocate, she's a producer, director, and to add to all of that, she is now entering into the literary field of becoming an author. And if you don't know who I'm talking about the ever talented Vonetta Reeves, aka Musu. I like to call her Musu. Musu, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Listen. That was an amazing introduction.
Listen.
Sometimes I don't even realize how much I've done or I am doing until I hear it.
Well, you know, you're 39 years old, so you got many more years to go into doing some more amazing things. But the one thing I wanted to ask you is, like, it's only 24 hours in a day, right?
Right.
And what I just mentioned about, and I'm pretty sure I left some things off. Where did you find time to jump in to this world, and why?
It was definitely time. Crazy thing is, I've always said, like, from being a little girl, I used to read a lot of books. I used to have a lot of books, read a lot of books. And I always said, like, I was going to write my own book. Like, I knew, like, one day I was going to be an author. And I think the timing was right now. Like, and of course, through experiences and evolution, I just knew, like, the time was right now. Because in my mind, I'm like, when I retire, that's when I'm going to start writing. But I just found time. Like, any little free time I had, I was just, like, on my way to work. You know, that's the good thing about, like, having a recording on your phone. Like, on my way to work, I was writing down things that I wanted to be in the book. I was writing down information that I wanted to put in the book. So every little chance that I get, and, you know, I have a long ride to work. Anybody who doesn't know, my ride is anywhere from 75 minutes to 90 minutes one way. So that's like 180 minutes. So a lot of the time was like in the car, like recording what I wanted to say, voice recording.
All right. So some of the things I mentioned. Mother, that title is mom, or whatever they call you. Grandmother, Nima.
Yes.
Right? Professionally, Ms. Reeves. I said you're a woman's advocate. Musu Yanama is the name of your women's group, right?
Yep.
I said you're a producer, director. She Got Jokes Too.
Yep.
And Sis, It's Your Time. Could you tell the reason why we're here today? What's the title now of the book that we are about to get into?
The title is Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me.
Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me. Sounds like a title that is not going to fare well for any man. And you know what? I can honestly say I'm partly to blame for shit like that. So for anybody watching this, I want to apologize ahead of time before we get into this for anything that I've ever done to add to why this book was created. All right. So now, the premise of Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me. Let's get into the premise of that book, and where did the concept come from?
So pretty much the concept came from, like, you know, in relationships, mainly women, we pour a lot into relationships, right? So everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to love on someone, you know. So it's like you loving on this person, and sometimes we love on the wrong person, and we end up losing ourselves in relationships. And sometimes we don't find ourselves. A lot of times we don't find ourselves. A lot of times it take a long time to find ourselves. But when you do find yourself, then you know that you have chosen yourself within that whole experience. So definitely that's where like the whole concept came from.
All right. So I've been listening to a lot of music, and that title just sounds like the title of the album, right? So Jill Scott just came out with an album.
Ooh, that's my girl.
And that's my girl too.
That
In my
is
mind,
my girl.
me and Jill Scott break up every other month.
In my mind, that's my sister.
And we get back together. Right? So, like musically, were you locked in musically with anybody, with any artist in the process of developing this book?
Definitely her. Like she's definitely my go-to. It's crazy you said that. And the particular album, and I literally can like pair a song from this particular album with a chapter in my book. Like it's a song for every chapter in my book from this album, and the album is The Light of the Sun. Love the album. Love the album. Like you can just tell that she was loving someone. Yeah, she was loving someone, and she was definitely choosing that person over herself, and she lost herself. But she has a song towards the end called Woman Manifesto. And it was like, hold up, I'm the shit. Like hold up, you're not the prize, I'm the prize. And like every single word, you feel it. But at the beginning of this album, she was just talking about like how much she loved this person, and like whoever the person is, and why can't they just love her the way that she deserves to be loved, or as much as she loves them. And then as you move through the album, she's finding herself. So definitely that's my go-to album to pair the book to.
So you keep using the word pairing, right? So like sommeliers, right? The people who are the wine experts, yep. They can be like, you know what, you can pair this wine with shrimp. You can pair like cigars, you can pair this cigar with whiskey, brandy, or whatever. So the fact that I'm thinking Jill Scott when this book, as I'm reading this book, and I have to say I'm not an avid reader. I hated school, hated every part of school. Never liked school ever. Mm-hmm. So reading was not my thing. I read this book from cover to cover, and there's only 4 other times that I've ever done in my life. And as a good friend of mine, Kwashan Hassan, shameless plug.
Yes.
He's written 3 or 4 books.
Yes,
and whenever you send it to me,
yep.
I read it from cover to cover,
yep.
in one sitting. And I did the same thing with this. And in reading this book, so the whole pairing thing, I'm like, yo, I knew I was on to something in the fact that you mentioned my ex-girl, Jill Scott. And without me even saying, you know, is dope. But the frame of mind, right, with this book, who are you writing this book for? So first of all, tell us about what the book is. What the book is about.
So the book is about a woman who's dating 2 men. Actually, she talks about her experience dating 2 men in her life, and why in 2 men who are 2 completely opposites of each other, but they are not fulfilling to her for whatever reason. And she sacrifices her own happiness and loses herself in their relationships with these 2 men, and how she got out of it and how she regained herself. And the book is definitely mainly I want to say women, actually like it's definitely for women, but I'm hoping that men get the gems that's dropped in the book as well. And not to say like women are perfect or they don't come and bleed on men, and and they don't have trauma as well. But as you all know, as you know for sure, I've created so many different platforms for women, and I definitely created this book hoping that it would definitely help them.
All right. So you just mentioned creating platforms for women. So I have to say this because I think it's amazing. Your women's group Musuyanama,
Mm-hmm.
which means
beautiful woman,
which is why I call her Musu, right? Short for Musu, and she's a beautiful woman. She Got Jokes Too is an all-female production. Female DJ, female host, female producer, female director,
yep.
all female talent comedians. Sis, It's Your Time. There are specials, comedy specials, similar to Netflix, HBO, Showtime. She does all of that. When you wrote this book, right? Reading the book, I did catch gems that made me look at myself to be more accountable for the effects that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, for the effects that men have on women in relationships. Especially, I got 2 daughters, 3 daughters, granddaughter, and so I was reading. I'm like, yo, this book is primarily for women because that's what she does. Mm-hmm. But as I got deeper into it, I'm like, nah, there's some shit in there. There's some stuff in there for me as well, right? What's the message? First of all, who are the characters, the main characters in the book?
So the main characters is Stan, Shay, and Sincere.
And that's another thing that drew me in. Shay is a name that is very near and dear to my heart. And she's laughing because she knows why. And I'm smiling, and it's not because it's funny.
Because when I came up with it, I totally forgot. Forgot. But yeah, so but definitely Stan is mentioned in the book a few times. But the main characters, those are the 3 main characters. But in the book, she mainly more so talks about the relationship with Sincere, because I believe the character pretty much have been like dating the same type of men, finding herself going down the dead end relationship over and over and over again. But I believe her focus in on Sincere was like the last relationship that made her really like sit back and evaluate what she's doing. Like, like, hold up, stop playing the victim and figure out what your trauma is that you keep going to these same men who are givers and not takers.
So Shay, describe Shay.
Educated, Black woman, have a lot going for herself, well-rounded, and she's just looking for a partner who can pretty much match that.
And now describe Stan. Who is Stan in reference to Shay? How do they quote?
Stan was a guy that Shay dated, an older guy that Shay particularly dated, and as far as like what gravitated her towards Stan was that he was older, settled, and she's dealt with all the men she dealt with prior to that. She dealt with infidelity with them. Whereas here comes Stan, he's older, he's settled, he's done with that part of his life. And so that's what gravitated her towards him and wanted to build that relationship, because that was something that she didn't have to worry about, that she worried about in other relationships. So she ignored all the other red flags that came along with that she should have probably, if she paid attention to or admitted, because I definitely feel like we say red flags. So, red is warning. Flags you can see. So you're literally ignoring the flag. you know the flag is there, and that's why it's called red flag, because you know the flag is there and you're intentionally ignoring that red flag, or pretending that you can turn, or thinking to yourself that you can turn that red flag into a green flag, and it's not happening. So
that is sharp.
Yep. So
I'm so glad you said that, because
so red flags are something. It's not something that we don't know. People say red flags is you can see a flag.
I think a lot of women are colorblind. You know what I mean?
You can see a flag.
So we got Stan, we got Shay, and we got now.
Sincere.
Now describe Sincere.
Sincere is the bad boy. That's the one that, most women fall into the trap with. Bad boy, excited, daring. Most of them are like very affectionate, right? To a certain extent. And in the book, Sincere was filling the emotional and the physical void that Stan did not fulfill in the relationship. And Stan was just like basic. He was routine. He wasn't spontaneous.
He checked all the boxes.
Right. And then here comes Sincere, checking all the boxes that Stan couldn't check, except Sincere was not stable. Right? So he checking all other boxes except stability. So, and that stability is a big red flag. But of course, again, we're ignoring, like, oh, I'm going to ignore this red flag. But you know what? I'm going to work on turning that red flag green. I think I can turn that red flag green. I can make him be what I want him to be in this relationship. And the same with Stan, like, hopefully he would be what I need him to be. Or most women psych themselves out to thinking that it's not important. Like, it's not important that that he doesn't have this. It's okay that he doesn't have this, and then it's not important, but it is important.
So what was the process in developing the characters?
Just basically from my past experiences and men I've dated in the past, men that my girls have dated in the past. Like you said, I'm exposed to a lot of women. I had a women's organizations. We've had numerous conversations, even my young girls, like, even the type of men that they choose, like having conversations with them. I meet with them on Thursdays and having conversations with them. And, I find myself telling them, like, they're like, because, like today, for instance, we talked about so we're on the subject that we're on right now is sex education. But we talked about red flags and green flags today. So I gave them scenarios and I'm like, is this a red flag or green flag? And they know. Red flag, green flag, red flag, they know, right? And they're like, and I'm like, so why do you think you ignore red flags? Like, why do you think that you know? And the girl was like, I think one of the young ladies was like, I think because we're young and, and I'm like, I just want to tell you the same issues that you're going through in a relationship. A 40-year-old is going through that in the relationship. A 50-year-old is going through that. A 30-year-old. Like, there's no, like, limitations on, like, the experiences that you experience at a young age. You could be any age. So it's not young. But I was like, but you're aware. Because they're aware. Like, I'm telling them what red flags are. Like, I'm giving them examples. And they're telling me this is a red flag. And they're right. Like, everything that they said was a red flag was a red flag. Everything they said was a green flag was a green flag. So they're right. But at that young age, they're ignoring it. And they're ignoring it for the same reasons that women who are 30, 40, 50 years old are, like, ignoring it. They feel like they don't deserve better. They feel like hopefully the person will love them enough to change. Like, it's the same thing that a woman who like, have experienced a lot of relationships think still. We're nurturers and we automatically think like we can nurture someone enough to change them.
So you talked about the older women you deal with, and you talked about the younger women that you're dealing with. Talk about at what capacity you are involved with the younger women.
So I mentor them. They're the mentoring group is called Queens Redefine, and it's 12 of them, amazing, amazing young ladies. And so like we just talk about different topics. So I have like topics set for them for every month. Like January was mental illness. Um, Last month was etiquette. This month is sex education. We're gonna go into finances. Like just giving them, dropping gems on them, hoping that. And I told them, I said, you may not, you hear what I'm saying, but you may not apply it just yet. You may not apply it until you're 25 years old, but you're going to remember these conversations that we're having. And out of those conversations, these young ladies have gone through a lot already at 15, 16, 17 years old. We talking about their mom, boyfriend sexually assaulting them, and the mother knowing, and the mother choosing the boyfriend over them. We're talking about some of them who feels like the mother favors this kid over them. Or their mother just being very emotionally and mentally abusive to them. I had a young lady who told me her dad told her she looks prettier when she doesn't smile. Like, and for them to repeat those things, that they subconsciously are believing those things. And your parents are like your first love. So they're setting a tone. And one of the young ladies even said, like, she thinks that she takes the abuse that she takes because her father wasn't there from men. And she said, I feel like I yearn for that male love because my father wasn't there. At 17, she's able to say that.
So when you talk about the book, so I want to get more into the book, but you writing the book, like who would you say you wrote the book for? Did you write the book for your older self, or did you write the book to kind of give a roadmap to the younger women on what to look for when you see the red flags, the type of effects ignoring the red flags can have? Who do you think you primarily wrote this
I think for both. I think for just like all women, doesn't matter the age. I think it definitely, I know is a roadmap for those young ladies. So they, especially the last few chapters, it's just like listen up, this, and that. Also for those women who are stuck in the cycle, who are stuck in relationships, who are stuck in the cycle and feeling like there's no life after this person, or doubting themselves, because most times you're in relationships, especially when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you definitely are being emotionally and mentally abused. And there's like messing with the psyche, that's the biggest abuse that you can ever have. So somebody really making you doubt yourself, like what you're thinking, is like that's just the worst abuse that someone can ever put on you. So it's definitely for all women. It doesn't matter the age. I feel like my younger girls is definitely, like you said, a roadmap for them to know which way, not what to put up with, what not to put up with, what to do when you see red flags. But then also the older women, like, look, I understand what you're going through. Nope, you're not crazy. Nope, that is not love. Get out of there.
Just to be clear, the messaging, if it was one clear message based off of what you just said for women, what would it be based off of this book? What would the message be for the women out there?
Choose yourself.
I love it.
Choose yourself.
Now, with all of your experiences that you've had and the experiences that you've been exposed to, was there a moment that happened where you said, you know what, I got to write this book now, like this particular incident that drove you into that?
Yeah, so like, I was in a relationship, and I wasn't, and it was like the first time that I can actually say I did not recognize myself. And I saw like I was not recognizing myself. And it was just like who is this person in the mirror? Like, who is this in the mirror? And I had to be honest with myself and choose myself and get out of that situation. But getting out of that situation, I started writing. And the writing definitely helps you to evolve, helps you to heal, and helps you to look forward. Right. And when you're in pain, or when you feeling like when you're healing, that's when you are the most vulnerable. So you're going to be the most honest. To me, you're just going to be the most honest in the things that you're writing down. Right. So definitely it was an experience that I went through where I did not recognize myself. And I thank God that I had the strength, like, to be able to step outside of that and say to myself, like, girl, what are you doing? Who is this in this mirror? Who is this? Because it's not Vonetta G. Reeves. So who is this? So I really had to be honest with myself. And that just started the process. I actually, when I was leaving, when I was leaving another particular relationship, I was thinking about writing a love story. So then when I went through a particular experience, it kind of like turned around to like, I think I want to do a self-help book, not a love story. We hear love stories all the time. You know, everything always look like cute with a bow tie. We see that all of the time, but we don't see people share like vulnerability and share like situations that they've gone through. And I think in this book, I've shared like a lot of situations I've gone through in relationships through these two characters.
Okay, so Stan, Shay, and Sincere. It actually sounds like an R&B group. And it, like reading the book and the certain titles to the book, it really put me into like a musical space. And the only thing missing was beats, right? Was music. The intro had something that really stuck out. I think every chapter there were certain quotables that, like, if you were listening to an album, that line is gonna resonate, right? So it wasn't connection, it was possession masked as interest, intensity dressed as destiny. That was sharp.
Yeah.
I said, this motherfucker is sharp.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that line right there.
So a lot of times, so in that space right there, we love attention, right? So you thinking like this person is giving you all of this attention, that is a connection that you guys that you have with this particular person. But it's not, it wasn't, it was possession. Like they saw you as possession, like possession, and they were trying to possess you, right? So when I wrote that, that's what I was just thinking about. I was just like, this is not love that you're feeling, but we always think like it's love and it's this connection and this is my person. That's what we use. This is my person, right? But it's not. And that person, usually when people like try to possess you, they went through some type of trauma, and most of the time they went through abandonment. So like possessive is like they want to hold on to you because they've gone through abandonment. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, if you find yourself in a relationship with a possessive person, I guarantee you one of their parents were missing when they were growing up, or a parent died when they were young. Like it's like that right there is trauma. And a lot of people don't think like that they need help or that they bring trauma to a relationship because they never dealt with the fact that they had a parent missing in their life.
So was the possession from Stan or from Sincere?
Sincere definitely was the possession.
All right. So listen, Stan, from reading, Stan seemed like a good dude. He's about his business. Like you said, he was home. He was, he wasn't running the streets. He's very reliable. You can count on him to take care of things around the house. That was the all in the book. And I don't want to give too much away from the book, but what I do want to ask is, it always appears that they say good guys finish last. Mm-hmm. It seemed like Stan was the sure shot.
Right.
That most women say they want until they get it, right? Shay was in a, and this is crazy, I gotta say this name because I swear this book was about me. Because I was Stan and Sincere at
some point in your life.
At every point of my life. But, and you know what, I don't want to make light of what we're about to talk to, but I wasn't. But anyway, so why is it that women, we talked earlier about women ignoring the red flags, right? They also ignore green ones. In the book, she had the green flags, good guy.
I don't think she ignored them. She knew they were flags. She said it in the book. She knew, like she said, he was good when it came to this. He was good when it came to that. Right. But this was missing, But I'm going to tell you this. One thing that someone said to me years ago, and I just had to think about it. We meet good people. You've met tons of good women. Tons. I've met good men, right? But does not mean that they that good woman or that good man for you. Right? Everybody, you that's why you have to know who you are and what you need. Right? So like Shay is in this relationship with Stan, but Stan is not providing her what she needs. Right? But she is altering her life to give him what he needs. But he is not doing the same on that end, right? So she's altered. Her whole life is based around what Stan needs to feel like a man.
Lyrically, I wanted a partner, someone who wanted to experience life with me, not judge me for wanting it. This book got so many bars, yo.
Yes.
The soundtrack, and I want to say this, the soundtrack is coming, but talk about that right there.
Yes. So
I read that shit like.
Stan definitely was, he's a religious person, right? So set in his ways, and anything that he feels like she does outside of what he feels like she does, she is judged for that. Right? So she's judged for living life. She's judged for wanting to go to an event, go to celebrate a friend. She's judged by that, right? He's in his box. He put himself in this box because he has gone through some trauma as a kid himself. Right. Okay. He isolates himself from the world. And he literally completely befriended only her. And she knows this. So it's like now she's with this man who has completely only befriended her and shut his whole stuff, his everything, everybody else out, right? And she knows that, and she's like wearing the burden of all of that, right? She's wearing that, and because of that, even after years of being in a relationship and knowing that the relationship was for her, she felt guilt about leaving. It was a level of guilt that she felt to leave that relationship. She felt obligated to stick to this man, to not live the life that she wants to live because she wants to keep him happy, even though she is not happy.
So is it safe to say in relationships that it's never enough for the man or the woman?
No, it's not safe to say that.
And the reason I'm saying that is because Shay sounds like a lot of women. Oh, I don't want to men. Do you like men that cheat?
No.
Check. Didn't do that. Do you like men that run the streets?
No.
Check.
Mm-hmm.
Shay didn't like none of that. No, I'm not talking about you.
She's
Shay.
right. No.
Check. You like men that are responsible and right. So now when you get when Shay got all
that's one level. That's one level. So let's just talk about the emotional, mental, and physical part of the relationship. Because right there, we just talking about stability.
Right.
That's what we're talking about there. And stability is important. We just talking about stability in a relationship.
Right.
But let's go over here to the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the physical. Spiritually, when they say equally yoked, that's real. Like spiritually, they were not yoked. Mentally, they were not yoked. Emotionally, they were not yoked. And physically, they were not yoked.
Okay.
So that's that. And you have stability over here, but you have all these other things over here. And that's why it's important to know who you are, though. And a lot of times we get in relationships not knowing what we need and not knowing who you are. You have some people, like, for instance, Stan, he may not care about like having a woman who has a sexual appetite. He may not care that his woman does not want to have sex, right? Or he might care that he's not. How many men complain like, man, she ain't giving me none. She ain't giving me none. That's the reason why I cheat, because she ain't giving me none. Sex is important in relationships to men and women. Not just men, to men and women, but it may not be important to every man or every woman. So that's why it's important to know who you are and what you need in a relationship.
So but message for women. What message would you give? What knowledge, wisdom would you like to impart on women in regards to that, where the relationship seems like it's, exactly what you want? Right?
Don't lead him on. Like, if you know, like, it not seems, because we talking about red flags. Because those red flags, like, it doesn't seem. It's just that with women, and I promise you, like, a lot of women will agree. You know how we have a list, a pros and a con list. We make up all the pros lists, and if the pros list is what society say that we should be satisfied with in a relationship, we gonna ignore everything that's on the cons list. That's what happens a lot of times in relationships. Even with men, like she cooks, she clean, she take care of the kids. That's it. But then I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna get sex from here. I'm gonna get and you should be able to me, like, a relationship should be like, you should have a balance. Not to say it's gonna be completely 100% perfect, but you should have a balance of everything in your relationship. Enough so you would not step out in your relationship and cheat. That's just how I feel. I'm sorry.
So let's repeat the title again. Title:
Love and Sincere.
Loving Sincere.
Losing Me.
Losing Me.
Choosing Me.
Choosing Me. Can we talk about, and that's the book coming out when?
May 14th.
May 14th.
Yes.
Right. Beautiful month. Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about over time, when you're in a relationship, men and women,
mm-hmm.
where it seems like it's perfect.
Right.
The big ticket items are not being. He's not cheating. She's not cheating. She cooks. She cleans. She takes care of the kids. Yet you still have other desires. How do people get through that? Over time, what that looks like? Because in the book, it appears that Shay was with Stan, and Stan seemed to be a great guy, run of the mill. But there were gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, those gaps widened to the point where I view it as she couldn't see Stan anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can't see the partner who you with,
absolutely,
somebody else
is going to slide in the gaps.
Is going to fill in them gaps,
yep.
Right? So talk to women and men where, listen, just because your relationship seems solid, if it's not fulfilling you, over time, is this book an example of over time a relationship that seems like it's perfect for you? when you don't recognize what you need for yourself and you overlook what you need for yourself, this is what can happen over time. Because once I finished reading the book, I was like, yo, this is
it's not overlooking, it's sacrificing. You sacrifice yourself. Like, I feel like people know like what they need and what satisfies them in a relationship, but they compromise, and relationships is about compromising, but they compromise to the point that they're doing all the compromising and all the sacrificing in a relationship. Like, Shay knew from like the beginning of that relationship, Shay knew that he was not satisfying to her. So she was ignoring it and forcing it. And that's what people do. People ignore things in relationships and they force things in relationships. One, it might be to because they really want to like that relationship to work. They really want to be in a relationship. Two, they don't do the work, like you said. They don't take that time to learn themselves. Like, a lot of us don't know like what we want, what we need and what we don't need, what's satisfying and what's not satisfying. But a lot of times in relationships, we are sacrificing ourselves. So that's why it's like choosing me. Like, okay, now I'm choosing me because I'm not happy in this relationship. I keep pretending like I'm happy in this relationship. There's a part in the book where she's like, I go to these parties by myself and I go to these events by myself, and then I sit in a car and then like I pretend like I'm okay that he's not coming to these events with me, but really deep down inside, I'm not okay with going to these places by myself.
Yeah, Shay was going through it in what seemed to be a good spot. So lyrics again, I was craving passion for years, being with a man who was steady but didn't thrill me. And then he walks right into the picture, right? He being sincere. And I got in big bold letters. I feel like I got to put a pause on that. Be careful what you wish for. Introducing sincere. Yep. So now, Stan, Shay, seems to be a happy relationship. There's certainly some things. Because now, what you're saying about Stan, if we would have ever unpack his character and how he viewed the relationship, it's just like, yo, this chick want to go out all the time. She doesn't follow my religious ideologies, and we're not equally yoked, but she not whoring in the streets, and she's not argumentative.
She got her thing.
She's professional. Together. Like, so she's seems
paying 90% of the bills, because that was another thing. Like, she, like, financially, she carried the relationship. That's in the book. That's
one thing Shay ain't never had to deal with. Damn, I had a flashback. I had a moment. But anyway, so good relationships are always what they seem to be. Right. So introducing Sincere, and that's one hell of a name. That is one hell of a name. Sincere, by definition, it basically is genuine, right? Be careful what you wish for. Talk about the intro to Shay and Sincere.
So when she meets Sincere, automatically, like, she just gravitated towards him. Like, she like, in the book, she describes like immediately she was just ready to throw herself at him. Immediately, like, after being in a relationship with Stan and not even looking at another man, here this guy comes into the picture and comes into her life, and immediately she's like, I gotta have him. Like, I don't care about at home. I feel bad about at home, but you know what? I don't care about at home. And that's how the relationship ended up going. It was like she was sacrificing. So, like, she had different sacrifices where it came to Sincere than she had when it came to Stan, but she still was sacrificing tremendously, right? So now she's sacrificing everything when it comes to Sincere. And that's how you know, that's a red flag within itself for a person when you have to sacrifice so much of yourself in a negative way that you lose yourself. Now you sacrificing who you really are and how you're really showing up in the world. So yeah, that it was just complete. It was all passion. It was all passion. Something that she was completely missing in the relationship with Stan. There was no passion in the relationship with Stan. I believe I nailed that in the book.
I believe so as well. So there's a question that I think 2,000 gazillion billion% of men ask. Actually, no, because some men just don't have that type of like flair, right? But women claim that they don't like men who are the bad guy. They don't like womanizers. They don't like flashy men. They don't like, right? Yet, they're attracted to that only until they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, why is it that a woman or Shay ended up not wanting to be with the type of man Sincere turned out to be, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But she fell hard for that very man, which most women say that they don't want.
They don't want, because most women feel like they can change a man. Like it don't matter. Like even when you say that even when you say you don't want it, like and I really believe it's the nurturer in us. Like, you know, we're nurturing, we bear children, and we feel like I can love him, that he will want to change. Like your mind, like you keep, like women really stay stuck in that I can really love this man enough that he will want to change. And that's what happened. Like she knows that he's a bad guy, but you know what? I see the potential. It's always, I see the potential. I see the potential. I see the potential in him, and I believe that I can change him into a good guy.
Now, title again?
Love and Sincere.
Love the shit out of Sincere.
Losing me.
Lost the shit out of yourself.
Yep, and choosing me.
And then you chose your motherfucking self.
Right. Yep. Love and Sincere. Losing me, choosing me.
And every man going like, God damn, I gotta change my ways. I gotta change my ways.
Hopefully.
No, I'm not changing, because women are crazy. Y'all, wonderful creatures.
Yeah, we are crazy.
Wonderful creatures, but reading this book, right? I'm gonna tell you something. Reading this book, when you think about a person like Stan, that's what every educated, smart, beautiful, capable woman claims that they want.
That's not true, because a woman wants a man who's financially stable, and Stan was not financially stable. He had a sense of stability, but he was not financially stable. And women, and we know women, when it comes to a man and his finances, they want a man who is financially stable. And that in itself, like sometimes, you know, we say, you know, it's okay, I'm the breadwinner, you know, I'm making more money, I'm the breadwinner. And if you think like it's a balance, like he's helping out in the house and everything like that, you will get caught up into you will get caught up into like feeling like it's 50-50, because he is like trying to like hold his weight. But when he's not being productive to change that situation, that financial situation, that's when it becomes a burden and you feel like you're being taken advantage of. So that's where like the illusion, like to me, I feel like he created an illusion that he was this perfect guy, but he still had his things with him. He still had his things with him that put a lot of burden on her. And most women, when you find when you have a good woman, they never want a man to feel less of a man. So of course it's going to be hard to have those conversations like, hey, I kind of wish that you can kind of like help out a little bit financially in the house, you know. I understand that you're down on your luck. I understand that, you going through hard times right now, but it's a lot on me. You have a woman who's working multiple jobs and you're not.
Segue. You said a tough conversation, right? And here goes. I would love for you to address women who are dealing with a man who actually does financially contribute and who actually does pull more than his weight and who actually does not appear to be cheating and appear to be doing the right thing. When women get into those situations, Shay, I would love to hear what Shay would tell women who say, hey, listen, you got a man that's cooking, he clean, he does all this, and he works hard, and he make money, and he, do those men get a pass?
And he loves you more than you love him, you better keep him.
Do those men get do those men get a pass? Like, talk to the women about, because
like, get a pass, like, what do you mean get a pass? You're dating him, he's courting you, you're dating him, and these are all of the qualities that he comes with that you're looking for.
Right.
He's a perfect man.
Because it seems like Stan and Sincere combined is the perfect man. Now.
No. They weren't. They weren't.
I'm saying combined. Like,
so,
those qualities in one man. Because what I'm saying is, when you mentioned, well, Stan didn't contribute financially.
What was, and neither
but
did
if he
Sincere.
did.
And neither did Sincere.
So now the question becomes, is it Stan, is it Sincere, or was it Shay? And a lot of times.
So I'm going to say this, it was Shay, because she knew that neither one of those men were meant for her. And selfishly, she continued to have relations with them. So it was definitely her, because she knew those men were not for her.
Talk about the moment Shay knew it was over with Stan.
The moment that she didn't care. Like, the moment that she started staying out and didn't care about checking in, didn't care how he felt, like, she checked out. She definitely lost herself.
The beginning of the story talks about Stan, right? And the type of man he was and the type of relationship y'all had. Was the encounter with Sincere needed in order for you to realize that relationship was no longer for you and for you to get out? Because I think that in relationships, when people leave because they have come to a point where they can't take anymore, I think it's way more definitive as opposed to I left because of him or her. When somebody could say, yo, I'm leaving because I don't want to be with you, that's way different than, I love you, but I think I love them more. Do you think that Shay was at a point in that relationship where it was over, whether she met Sincere or not, but she just needed like a nudge to be like,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like, she was sacrificing her happiness in the relationship. And I think that was evident when she talked about going to events. And like, at that point, Sincere was not in the picture. So she was talking about going to events and how like she never shared with Stan that those things bothered her. Right? Because she already knew like his beliefs and like what he stood for. And he was the type of man that just was not going to bend. He wasn't going to fold. He wasn't going to bend. He wasn't going to compromise on certain things. Right? So the moment, like those times where she sit in the car and she's just like in deep thought or just feeling sad or going home and it's like, hey, I'm here, you know, and he's like, hey, and he's over here in his world and she's over here in her world. Definitely like, but like Shay knew that early on in the relationship, and I believe in the book, like it just talks about how like she knew like 2 years in the relationship that he was not fulfilling to her.
So the introduction to Sincere. Somebody told you don't do it.
Yeah, so in the book, the sister was like, "Don't do it." Told Shay, "Don't do it."
And Shay is hard.
Yep.
And she
like,
always,
"Don't do it,
Shay
girl."
is
I
hard.
heard about him, and you know, like, but and I think like at that moment, I think Shay was like, "I'm just gonna have a little fun," you know, and a little fun end up turning into a whole drama, like a whole series, a whole drama, and ruining lives. Like decisions were made that ruined her life, you know, ruined Stan's life, and you know, it was damage. The damage was done.
So
it's never what you do, is how you do it. And I think even her feeling like she wanted out of that relationship, the way that she went about leaving a relationship that was not fulfilling to her, it wasn't good.
Loving Sincere, losing me, choosing me, right? Why not a fling? Because it seems like once Shay came into contact with Sincere, she went into a full-on relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And most affairs that happen, it's like, hey, listen, I love who I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
You know I have somebody that I'm with.
Right.
This can't go any further than
right.
Right. But Shay and Sincere got locked in immediately.
Yeah. Women, because women don't love like that. Women cannot just have sexual, and I'm not going to say some women can, but most women cannot have sexual relationships with men and not begin to feel something for them. You just can't, because you love. Like, men can separate it. Men can have, yes, they can. Men can have like physical and sexual relationships with women, and that be that, and going home to their wife and say, hey, honey, I'm home. But women, like, we can't love like that. We just don't love. Like, men and women, I really do believe, love differently, and we just cannot love like that. So it's inevitable. When I hear women say, oh, I just want sex from him, like, if you keep having sex with somebody, and especially when you have an unprotected sex with them, you're going to eventually feel something for that person, whether you admit it or you don't. And then most women who don't have any feeling, those are women who have probably been sexually molested or raped or assaulted somehow, some way.
Message because I believe that throughout the course of the book, there's a lot of messaging that can be extremely helpful to men and women.
Right.
Getting involved with those things that you know is not good for you, yet pushing through that feeling anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, what message would you or Shay give to women who find themselves in that situation?
Again, you got to choose yourself. You really got to.
What does that look like? Because it sounds right, really.
So choosing yourself, meaning that you know that something does not, it doesn't serve you. You're sacrificing the most in that situation. You're doing most of the sacrificing in that situation. You choosing someone else's happiness over your happiness. That is not choosing yourself. Like, you definitely, like, you cannot have a healthy relationship if you basing that relationship off of someone else's feelings, someone else's emotions, someone else's like needs. You have to choose yourself. You got to know what your needs are and choose your needs over someone else's needs in order for you to have a healthy relationship. It's just not going to be healthy.
How do you know when you know what you need in a relationship. Because I think, honestly, based off of the book, I'm reading it, I'm like, she seems like a very, very intelligent woman.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like she knows what she wants and what she doesn't want, what she needs and what she doesn't need. It seems like she had it in one relationship and that wasn't enough. She got into another relationship, that wasn't enough. How do people, men and women, decipher what it is that they need and what they don't need, and how to process that and move forward?
I mean, everybody's different. You just gotta know your love language. You just gotta know your love language. That is true. It's a true thing though. You know, you really gotta know your love language and what you want. Like again, like me, I'm a giver, right? And I love somebody who gives in returns, not somebody who's constantly taking. I love someone who wants to, I know that I love to travel and I want someone who wants to travel with me. So why would you get in a relationship with someone who's telling you that they don't like to travel or they don't care about traveling?
Okay.
So it's just knowing what you like, the things that interest you in a relationship, and you want to kind of find that compatibility. And sometimes you are going to, you do got to compromise in a relationship, and sometimes people don't even know. And that's where we get stuck. Because we like, well, I'm going to show him what it feels like to want to travel. Or I'm going to show him what it feels like to go out to fine dining. And they may still not be interested in that. It just may not be their thing. If I'm dating and I'm reading someone's dating profile and they say, I don't smoke, I don't drink. I don't think I would move forward with that, because I know that I'm a social drinker. Like, I know that I want to, like, and it might cause an issue in the relationship. Like, at the beginning, they may say it's okay, like, if you drink and I don't drink, but it might cause a conflict in relationships. Some people are not willing to compromise when it comes to certain things. So, I think it's just knowing what your needs are, what your hobbies are, what you like, what you don't like, what you okay with the other person doing or not doing in a relationship.
All right. So relationship, which is what Shay and Sincere got into immediately. Talk about from the intro to your relationship and how it progressed over time. And in the book, there was a thing about bowling, something that you both were interested in, and something that you seemed to connect on.
Right.
But that seemed to it went from a positive to a negative thing. Quick. So talk about the progression of.
So I think with Sincere and Shay, they came from two different worlds. You know, Shay is from a world where, she's well off, she's a professional, and even though she might have grown up like in the hood, but that's not where her life took her. And then you have Sincere, who is from the streets, still in the streets, roam in the streets, and she tries to pull him into her world. So she's showing him all of these things that she feel that, like, she just want to show him a different way of life. So she's introducing him by going to different places, going on trips and bowling and being around other people other than the hood. Like, so she tries to pull him into her world. But what ended up happening is, over time, it became like a tug of war, because now he was starting to pull her down into his world. And because, like, at a certain time in a relationship, she ended up falling for him and she wanted to make him happy. Now she's sacrificing and she's compromising and saying, okay, then I'll just do this for you, knowing that what you're doing is going completely against everything that you stand for. So it's like she started, even though she wanted to pull him up into her world, he started pulling her into his world of endurance.
So it's levels to it, where you at a certain level, and sometimes when you're dealing with a plethora of people, if your level is here and their level is there, if you want to see eye to eye, somebody either got to come
Oh
up
yeah.
or
Or
somebody got to
go
come
down.
right?
Mhm.
And it seems like within the book, Shay was confident and comfortable at her level, and she allowed Sincere to see eye to eye with him. She went down
To his
to his
level.
level. What would the message be for women who kind of see? Because down at that level, everything looked different.
Right. So that's when we get into the difference between endurance and evolution. So most people, like when you on one level and you find yourself continuing to elevate, that's called evolution, right? But then you have someone who's down here and he's comfortable in that level of endurance. That means he's stuck in the same spot. And people think that endurance is something good, like, oh, she's strong, she endured that pain. But some people get stuck, like just constantly enduring the pain, but not doing anything to evolve from that pain of endurance. So I think like she was hoping that he wanted to evolve at that level of endurance, and he didn't. And she did like go down to meet him eye to eye at times so he can feel comfortable. He can feel like a man, quote unquote. I would tell women, do not go down levels. Like, you don't go down levels. If somebody's not willing, and then there are some people out there who you show them a different way of life and they're willing to evolve. But if you already know that the man is not, or the woman, because I know some men who have women who are okay with staying at one level and where he's building up and she's not trying to help him at all to build that empire. If you know the person is not willing to elevate, leave them right where they at.
So there was throughout and I don't want to talk too much about the book. I like talking about the premise of the book because I think that what we've said thus far is intriguing enough for me to go home and read it again. But talking about levels, I'm gonna just go through some timelines, activities, places, right? So there's a frequency of reward, as I call it. Shay likes to travel. Shay is well traveled. Shay is well educated. Shay is well rounded. And apparently the brother Sincere was not. And she exposed him to a lot of things, right? So Denver in February, St. Kitts in May, and I could be getting the trips and the months wrong, but it was just so much. And I'm reading it like, yo, I wish. So Denver in February, St. Kitts, May, Vegas, June, Atlanta, Puerto Rico, January, August, Detroit, bowling trips, a trip to the moon. And it was all over the place, right?
I definitely, what I wanted people to see, like those trips, was definitely escape of reality for both of them.
Right.
Definitely escape of reality for the both of them. Like, he was able to escape like his life in the hood. She was able to escape whatever she was dealing with someone that she was trying to elevate by showing him different things, but nothing worked. Nothing worked.
So with that being said, why would any man or woman change if they were
being rewarded with all of those things,
with all of the negative things? Because we didn't even get into some of the things that were happening within that. Like, why would
they wouldn't? They wouldn't. But in a woman's mind, like I said before, in a woman's mind, we're feeling like, if I show him these things, he then want to change. But no person is ever going to change, ever going to evolve, unless they want to, unless it's something that they really want to do for themselves.
So
no matter what you do, no matter how many red carpets you pull out, no matter how much you expose them to, they're not going to change unless they want to change.
So is it safe to say, and maybe this is not going to be a popular take amongst women, that certain people serve a certain purpose
Absolutely.
at a certain time in life.
In life, absolutely.
And then when it's over, it's over.
It's over.
Now, it seemed like Shay got to a point where she was like, yo, you know what? This shit was cool. This nigga crazy.
It's time to go.
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
It's time to go. And I think that she definitely realized that when she started taking on his lifestyle. When she started doing things that she knew that she would never do, that's when I believe she definitely realized that. When it was like, oh, hold up. He's pulling me down. And I was supposed to be elevating him, and he's pulling me down. They were in St. Thomas, and this lady came up to them and was like, oh my God, I can tell like y'all so in love. Y'all gonna be in love forever. You make me want to call my husband, you know, because that's just, I feel like they both were acting though. I really feel like they both were like,
Serving a purpose.
They were serving a purpose for each other at that particular time. And they both were like acting, as if they were like madly in love because they saw people were watching.
Now I'm gonna get into like the creative. I'm gonna get back to the book, but I just wanted to ask, while creating this book and developing this storyline,
Mm-hmm.
what was the feelings that were going into each sentence you were writing, each chapter you were completing? Talk about the creative process going into writing a book like this, because it seems it was very, very well put together, and it seems like, you know, you obviously enjoy being creative.
I did. I definitely did. And when I go back and I read it and I'm like, and I add more to it, I'm like, oh, I gotta add this to it, or I gotta make it like, you know, spark it up a little bit. It like some of it was from like experiences. So it's like, dag, like, you know, that word again, endure. Like, you know, in relationships, we endure way more than we should endure in relationships, and we get stuck there. We get stuck there and we feel like we have to endure pain. Like, I have to put up with this because I have children with them, or I have to endure this pain because I already invested a year in it, or 2 years in it, or 5 years in it. I invested time in there, 20 years in there. Like, I have to endure, like, just continue to endure this pain or whatever. So just like going down that, like just going down, like creating it and thinking about like how much in relationships we sacrifice and we endure just to stay in a relationship for reasons that does not serve us. We think it serves us, but it does not serve us. But also doing the work. Like, I love like how like I ended the book with doing the work on myself. Like, so it's like you got to do the work on yourself. So now you can recognize in relationships that, hey, this is not serving me. This person is not for me. I'm not wasting any time. In this situation, I am not choosing me. I am completely choosing this person, and not feeling guilty about choosing yourself. So like it was just great to see like how I'm in love. And then it's like, oh my God, I need to get out of this.
So you
and
talked
then it's
about
like making the escape and getting out.
So you talked about balance earlier. In the book, there was a part in the book where you took a family trip with them, and you felt a sense of connection, right? But then there were times when you had the exact opposite feeling of that. So that's balance. Bliss, the opposite of bliss, whatever words you want to use, right? Do you, when writing, was it purposefully, did you purposefully include such blissful moments along with the terrible moments?
Yes.
To give a sense to people of, hey, listen, this is what relationships look like, but you got to decipher through all of that to come up with a conclusion that benefits you overall. Like, what was your reasoning for it?
The reasoning for that is like how moments can make us believe that a relationship is for us and it's not.
Say that again.
Moments can make us believe a relationship is for us when it's not. So those moments that I created in the book, that it was like happy moments, those moments made it seem like this relationship can possibly be something. But there were so many things that was missing in the relationship. And sometimes we get stuck and we hold on to those moments. You know how they say, and I'm going to give you an example. You know how they tell you that you should eat 6 meals a day, right? And when you don't eat 6 meals a day, you know, some people may skip breakfast and they skip lunch and then they have dinner. What's going to happen to that the food that you take in is going to stick to your body, right? Because your body is starving. So any little thing, those moments was because that person was starving. Like they didn't have anything, breakfast, they didn't have any lunch. And then now they got this dinner, and that dinner, they holding on to that dinner and they holding on to the hope of the relationship, but they're still starving. They're still starving. I'm serious. Like that's, I'm serious. That's exactly. Like that. No, but that's what it is. So those moments that I created was like moments that Shay was holding on to, like moments like, you know, she was holding on to, but the relationship was not fulfilling her.
Talk about the type of person Sincere was in his world.
He was street guy. He was the go-to guy. He was the guy where, hey, I have a problem. I need your help. So he was a guy that everybody would go to when they need help. Everybody would go to when they need a job done, whether it was a job to dealing with drugs. It was a situation where somebody was in a fight and needed help. Like he was the go-to guy. He was the guy, the problem-solving guy. So he was a guy where he get out the car and in his hood and everybody treated him like royalty. And then like when he came into her world, and you know, I believe like I can't really quote exactly what I said in the book, but it was like something like, you know, you have all these friends, but and it was a sense of jealousy from him that he saw like everybody admired her in her world, and he felt like, oh, you just bully them, that's why they admire you. So that right there just showed a sense that he didn't feel as great when he was in her world as he did when he was in his world.
What is it that a person has to identify to pinpoint that and know that that is not something that will serve them in the long run?
As far as what? Like pinpoint like how the two of them were from two different worlds?
No, pinpoint how to recognize when somebody's intimidated, jealous.
Yes, when they start, so I'm going to tell you this, when the same thing that they loved about you become what they end up hating about you in a relationship, that's when you know that it's jealousy. I remember being in a relationship with a guy and him apologizing years later. Like he would say things, and that was the first relationship I ever been in that I was like, oh my goodness, you can actually be in a relationship with a man and they're jealous of you. Because you think like you're this great woman and you're showing him like, hey, I can do this. I can help us do this. I can help us do that. I have these connects. I can show you how to do this. I can show you how to do that. But it's like when you're a woman and you're dealing with a man who continuously keep coming up short in his mind and he doesn't know how to, I'm going to say healthy, in a healthy, positive way, how to cultivate that type of woman and use it to his advantage and create an empire with that type of woman, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just a sense of jealousy that comes in place.
A woman who kept trying to build a future with someone who could not meet her in the present. Bars. Let me tell you something. This book has so many platinum selling albums.
Yes.
Loving, sincere, losing me, choosing me.
She was feeding off that potential. She was feeding off that potential. Like he wasn't showing up. She was hoping that he would show up, but he wasn't showing up in the present. But she was hoping that he was showing up. And there's no way, if a man is not showing up in the present, that he can be your future. No way. No way.
Now, the beginning of it, everybody call it the honeymoon phases.
Mm-hmm.
That spark.
That spark. The spark.
that everybody falls in love with, right?
Yep.
But like all dangerous sparks, it burned beautifully before it burned everything.
Yes.
Bars, yo, you was on fire with this book, yo.
Yes, it's done.
Talk, and you know, we talked about Jill Scott and all that in the beginning.
Yeah,
but it just seemed like you was in a musical pocket.
It's like you have those stars. You know how when you meet somebody for the first time and it's like, you know, the cartoons where you have like the little stars in the eyes and it's like, yeah. And then when the person show you who they really are, which was a part in the book that happened, when a person shows you who they really are, that spark turn into fire. The spark can turn into fire at any time. A spark can turn into fire. How many times you know how they try to light a campfire? Yeah. They use a spark until it turns into fire, and what happens? And that spark be real small, and then when it get big, it burns everything. It can burn the whole
damn forest
yes.
down. Now, the way that Sincere was developed, the character that was developed, Sincere in the book, and the character of Shay, they seem to be equal personalities, equal beings, but in two completely different worlds. Mm-hmm. Could that be what attracted them to each other?
Possibly.
And does that? And do you think that happens often in real relationships?
It does, but the difference what end up happening is, like we talked about earlier, one person does not want to evolve. They want to stay stuck in that space. That's a comfort zone for them. That endurance is a comfort zone for them. And it's man or woman. Like I have female friends, I have male friends who are stuck in that endurance because it's a comfort space for them and they're afraid to move out of that comfort zone. So it can happen. It can definitely happen. But if they're both not willing to grow, it's not gonna work.
Now, in the book, it gets to a point where Sincere starts to saying some real harsh things. Mm-hmm. And you've used the word endure quite a bit. Mm-hmm. When is enough enough? And is there a way to portray that to women and men?
Enough is when you start questioning your own reality. Like when you start questioning like what you know is in front of you, when a person like make you question your own reality and you lose yourself. Like you see like who you look in the mirror and you cannot recognize that person in the mirror at all. And that person in the mirror, because you can look in the mirror and be like, all right, I look good. Like I don't recognize who this is and I look good. Or you can look in the mirror and be like, I look like crap. Who the hell is this woman? I look like crap. This is not who you are. And it shows like it takes a toll on your body because you go through anxiety and you go through emotional and mental abuse. It shows in your eyes, it shows in your face, like it ages you. Like stress ages you. In relationships like that, it will age you.
So we talked about earlier, like the definitions of sincere. So sincere by definition is proceeding from genuine feelings or free from pretense or deceit. Do you think that most people get caught up sincerely? Like, do they sincere? And it's weird when I thought about the definition, I'm like, damn, sincere is a character. but you don't bash him like that.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability also becomes a character in the book. So
I when I created him, and I was between bashing and not bashing, and the reason why I did not bash because I feel sorry for men like Sincere. Like in real life, I feel sorry for men like Sincere, and so I wanted Shay to feel sorry for Sincere. So she didn't do bashing, but she definitely recognized that he had some trauma that he would never be willing to deal with or even admit to. So I intentionally did not bash the character intentionally.
so there are 4 characters in the book: Stan, Shay, Sincere. The more and more I continued to read, like I said, accountability became a character that you fully developed in the book.
Absolutely.
Just as you fully developed Shay, just as you fully developed Sincere,
Yep.
as you fully developed Stan. Now, with accountability being the 4th character and many other characters within the book, let's talk about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up or thumbs down to social media, and what are your thoughts on the contribution to terrible relationships in social media? Because there's a part in the book where, Shay was going through social media and saw some stuff
found what she was looking for. Well, I'm gonna tell you this: social media
is the devil.
And it is. And recently, it was a couple who just got arrested. I'm not sure if you saw it. They lived in Hackensack. They got arrested for drugs, credit card scam. They had pink Benz, black Benz, all types of cars and everything. But on the outside looking in, everybody just thought they just had it all together, and they were business. They were like investors, and they had a business together, and they was this perfect couple. And their whole life, just everything is gone. And I feel like people see relationships on what they look like on social media, but it's not really what it is on social media. And then they want that, and they cause turmoil in their relationship that's probably healthier than the relationship they're trying to be like on social media. So it definitely is the devil's playground.
So was that stint in the book, and I'm not gonna get into it because I want people to really go and buy this book. Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me is the title of the book. Soundtrack coming soon. Was that the beginning of the end? The real end of the relationship?
The social media?
Yeah.
Not at all. That wasn't the beginning of the end. Like the social media thing, like and that's why, if you notice, because we make excuses. So she slightly made excuses for the things that she was saying on the social media by, well, he was the lead in it and he only left mine. So like, I gotta be special type thing, right? So she made excuses at that point, and that was like, earlier on in the relationship. That wasn't the beginning to the end. I believe one of the vacations, I'm not going to say which one, but one of the vacations was definitely the beginning to the end of the end.
So there was also a piece that within the book where you all went to go and speak to someone about what was going on in a relationship, right? And I honestly feel like those type of sessions, they're similar to social media.
Those type of sessions would definitely expose you, though. To me, it definitely exposes a person because it makes a person vulnerable when they're asked hard questions. And actually, I tried to take like questions that I know therapists ask in couples therapy and put it at the end of my book. Like I have a workbook at the end of the book, and I put it in one of the chapters, like hard questions that you should ask someone when you when they're courting you, or when you're courting a woman, or a man is courting you, questions that you should ask. And in the therapy session, it just showed there were questions that were hard questions, but they were valid questions that should be asked in relationships that Sincere could not answer at all. So I think sometimes therapy definitely exposes.
So this is why I correlate social media and therapy sessions, couples therapy. On social media, aside from going through somebody's DMs and seeing what he or she is doing, you're gonna see certain things based off of there's something on social media that somebody's going to relate to. Women ain't shit. Oh shit, I agree with that. I relate to that. Men ain't shit. Oh shit, I agree with that, right? Now when you go to therapy sessions, like if there's something that the therapist is saying that aligns with how you feel, you're going to like that therapist. If there's a post or whatever on social media, according to that aligns with how you view things, you're going to align yourself with that. Now, if there was something in that therapy session that she said that he responded to in a way that Shay was that Shay was hoping for, do you think that Shay would have elongated that?
If he was able to answer the questions that were being asked.
Right.
So that's the big thing. And they weren't like questions that the questions that she was asking him weren't questions that you would not ask someone in a relationship. She was asking him genuine questions that he could not answer, that you ask in a relationship. So I feel like that particular therapy session showed that she put all the work on the two of them. She just like gave them questions, like probing questions, but she put all the work on them. And he was not able to answer the questions, and she was able to answer the questions.
What did that do for Shay?
But I think it was just reassurance. Okay. Like people go to therapy for reassurance. I really feel like they go to therapy hoping that someone can actually see themselves in the mirror. And they also go to therapy knowing like, hold up, I'm not crazy. Because so I went to this self-help workshop one time. And what I loved about it is they had the whole weekend, they did different activities. And you know what the reason why they did different activities? Because they wanted you to see how you show up in the world. Every single activity showed how you showed up in the world. No lie. They were completely different activities. It was one particular activity, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to sit back here. I'm not going to even participate. I'm going to just let them do the work, like blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to even get involved because I don't like to argue. I don't like confrontation. And that is my character. So it showed up in that game. It showed up in the other activities. Every activity showed how you show up in the world. So I just felt like in that therapy session, it showed how he was showing up in the relationship. It showed how she was showing up in the relationship. So it wasn't like all on him. It was like, you have a responsibility too. Like now what you going to do? Because the same way you know who he is, and he's showing you who he is over and over and over and over again. And because he knows who you are and you're going to keep accepting it and not change, he's going to continue to be that person showing up over and over again. Because like you said, why would I change and I'm still getting everything? So like therapy to me, like it was just another way of him showing how both of them were showing up in this relationship.
What's the lesson about social media? You could talk about that first. And then what lesson would you give regarding going to seek therapy?
So the lesson with social media is definitely do not let social media dictate your relationship in any way. And just be careful what you put out there because you can't take it back. About your relationship, be careful what you put out there because you cannot take it back. And as far as like therapy, definitely, if you feel like give it a shot. To me, just give it a shot because it's just going to reassure you that this relationship is not for you, or is going to possibly make you believe that there's some hope. If the both of you are showing up in therapy and one person is trying and the other person is not trying in therapy, that's how you showing up in your relationship. You trying and the other person is not trying, let it go. If a person is like actually holding themselves accountable for how they're showing up in a relationship and validating your feelings and holding themselves accountable with getting a second, like a third person, because sometimes you do need a mediator. And I feel like therapy is just having that mediator to ask the right questions. You do have some therapists who may not ask the right questions. It's just like any relationship. You just got to find the right therapist. But I definitely believe therapy is beneficial.
After going through this process of writing this book, which is well written, Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me, title, how has it changed the way you view relationships?
Oh, it's what's crazy is like I have no tolerance for a red flag. I really don't. I have no tolerance for a red flag. I'm not afraid to ask those hard questions, those hard probing questions, because those hard probing questions can save you a lot of time. I just feel like we're getting older, we're not getting younger, and and I'm just not willing to waste any more time. I'm not willing to waste anyone else's time, and I'm not willing to waste any more of my time.
What would you tell your younger self after this? Like, knowing what you know now, writing this book, and all of the experiences that
Girl, leave fast.
Yeah.
Leave fast. Say how you feel in a relationship. Don't walk on eggshells. Ask those hard questions. Don't feel afraid that you're gonna chase them away by asking those hard questions. And if they're not giving you the answers that you need, leave fast. And just know your worth. At the end of the day, like, girl, know your worth. Know and trust in yourself. Like, know your worth and trust in your worth. Don't doubt who you are.
Now this book has it's literally a roller coaster. And I suggest Jill Scott in between each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a song from however many albums she has. I think her first album was probably one of the greatest albums ever created. But after reading this book, what would you tell women and men who are saying, you know what? All that shit she's been through, I'm not doing relationships anymore. Like, I'm not dealing with nobody. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to church. I'm going to the bank. I'm going to the bakery. And I'm going back home. Like, what would you tell people, after reading the book?
Don't give up on love. Like, don't give up on love is a good thing. Like, when you find that person, your person, like everyone wants to say, is a good thing. But definitely don't give up on love, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there again. And I know it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard when you like to make yourself vulnerable and knowing that it's a possibility that your heart will get broken or that person may not be your person and you might invest in time that you can't get back, but you don't know unless you try. You don't know unless you know. So don't give up on love.
So you're clearly passionate about like writing this book, right? So with comedy, producing, directing, women's empowerment, being an entrepreneur, being a professional, where does writing this book rank in all of the things that I mentioned? And I'm pretty sure it's about 123 other things that I did.
And right now, probably second. The
Yeah.
first thing is my family,
Yeah.
my children, and the second is definitely the book. I immediately, as soon as I was done writing the book, I already had like 1,000 projects that I can create from the book. So the book is definitely top priority for me right now. Just the book, and I already have an idea on what the next book is going to be.
I
So
love it. I love it.
Yep, I do.
I love it.
I do. I actually already have like the what I want the book cover to look like already. So I definitely have what I want the next book to be about and what projects I want to create from the book. So the book is definitely my top priority right now.
So when you say projects to create from the book, like reading a book, like I said earlier, it seemed like a blueprint, like a textbook, a textbook on how to navigate through difficult times and relationships. What are some things that you're hoping to develop, that you are developing based off of the book that you
So
wrote?
I'm developing curated retreats for women and one-day retreats for teen girls. So I'm pretty much almost finished with my proposals for both of them. So I'm definitely curating the retreats. I'm hoping to have like speaking engagements in which we can talk about the book and discuss, and people can, do a Q&A and ask questions about the book. The same as what we kind of did here, but in a room full of women,
I would love to see that. Can we film that?
Absolutely. But I definitely want to curate these retreats, and I wanted to go from right now, and I put together a 2-day 1-night retreat, but I'm hoping that eventually it'll become a 7-day 6-night retreat or a 5-day 4-night retreat. Also within the retreats, I am bringing in like my other businesses. Like I am bringing in like a comedian, like a female comedian, and I'm doing workshops. So like when you do workshops and you have these discussions, there is like a down, like everybody's feeling down, like a little downer. So I do want to do like have them at a place where they're being vulnerable, but also uplifting them at the same time through comedy and through karaoke to follow after having those difficult conversations, because it's always difficult to put yourself out there.
Listen, let's tell the people, I done said it 10 times, 20 times, the title of the book. Tell the people the title of the book, when it comes out, where they can get it, how they can consume it, and any other events that are happening in promotion to the book.
Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me, coming out May 14th. Do not forget to get the book. May 14th is also the book signing, so if you want your copy signed, please come to the book signing, which would be at Uncork Wine Bar, which is in Totowa. After that, you can purchase the book on Amazon, you can purchase it on Kindle, or you can purchase it through me. Please follow me on Choosing Me Experience on Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook, Vonetta G. Reeves. Definitely, I'm going to get into why I put my middle initial in there. We didn't talk about it today, but we'll talk about it another time. So please follow me, the author, Vonetta G. Reeves, on Facebook as well. Also, my website is choosingmeexperience.com, and you can also sign up to be a part of the Choosing Me Experience retreat, which is taking place in July, and another one will be taking place in November of this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all that needs to be said. The Renaissance woman herself, Vonetta G. Reeves, aka Musu. We can now add to the title Author Extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap.
Hey world, this is Vonetta G. Reeves. Author Vonetta G. Reeves. And please check out my interview that will be dropping, talking about my book, Loving Sincere, Losing Me, Choosing Me. The interview will be dropping on TikTok, the Choosing Me Experience. Follow me on TikTok.